Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the virtual Lewisboro Library Community Fair. I'm Liz Gabriel, representing the Lewisboro Library. We have 12 groups here with us today. Each representative will speak for about 5 minutes about their current volunteer opportunities. We will be doing a Q&A session after the presentation, so people can either unmute during the Q&A to ask questions or type your questions into the chat for the representatives to answer. Our first speaker up today is Ellen Mitchell from Guiding Eyes for the Blind.
Good morning. My name is Ellen Mitchell. I'm manager of volunteer services with Guiding Eyes for the Blind. Guiding Eyes provides exceptional guide dogs for individuals with vision loss to lead a greater independent life. We have two main facilities. One is in Yorktown, that's our training school, and we have our breeding center in Paterson, New York. Our organization begins working with our puppies shortly after birth, gently introducing them to what they would expect to hear and see in the world around them as they grow. If you'd like to learn more about this process, please visit our website at guidingeyes.org. As you negotiate through the website, you will enjoy pictures, videos, and information that will provide insight into what we do. We have many volunteer opportunities in both our Yorktown and Paterson facilities. However, due to COVID, we do not have any volunteers on campus at this time. If you're interested in volunteering, you can certainly fill out a campus volunteer application on our website. When it comes in, I will contact you, and when we're able, we will set up a time to meet. Additionally, please note that our volunteers need to be 18 years of age or older in order to volunteer on our campus. However, we do have some opportunities for families who have younger children. We're currently looking for families in the Yorktown and surrounding communities for a program called Home Foster Program. You would apply online, take a 2-hour orientation through Zoom, and then make an appointment to come into our Yorktown campus and meet one of our guide dogs in training. This opportunity allows you to take home one of our dogs that has gone through puppy raising and is now 16 to 18 months old. They are now in formal guide dog training. You'd need to transport them, and you need to be 18 or older to transport. You'd transport the dog to the Yorktown campus Monday through Friday during the hours of 6:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Pick the dog back up at the Yorktown campus Monday through Friday between 4:30 and 6:30. You provide a safe and loving environment, evenings and weekends for the dog. Be able to commit to a period of 4 months each time you foster a dog. Be physically capable of handling a 50 to 70 pound dog. Provide proof of updated vaccines for any pets that you have in your house. When you have the dog is always leashed when outside of your home. So this is something that we're looking to do. We will provide food, we'll provide the crate that the dog would sleep in with the bed, and we provide the veterinary care. So if this is something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is emitchell@guidingeyes.org, or you can reach me at 845-230-6412. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. And again, if you signed on late today and did not get the contact sheet, just email the library and we can send you the contact sheet for all of the speakers today. Next up, we have Kathleen Burleson from the Katonah-Lewisboro Girl Scouts.
Morning, everyone, and I appreciate being here. In order to communicate, I want to talk about the need for volunteers in Girl Scouts in your local community. I've been a volunteer for over 25 years, and I have been a member for 40, and I find it a very rewarding experience. When I started as a leader, my oldest was in 1st grade, and we carried her through. A little bit about Girl Scouts. Their premise is to develop strong young women in every way. To keep it simple, the motto is be the best you can. And we have found that girls that stay with our program really grow. They grow into the leaders of tomorrow, we believe. I could speak from all the girls in both my troops. They all became wonderful women. In order to be a volunteer, as I said, we're looking for leaders. We also can have older teen volunteers when time permits. But to be a leader, you have to register, which there's a registration fee. It's $25 a year. You have to get a background check, which is a new policy on all leaders in our organization. And you have to take a 2-hour webinar. You also need to have a co-leader in order to open a troop. So if you want to be a leader, and you should think about it, because you get to control the program for your children in a positive way. You control it to your availability in your schedule and to the needs of the girls. It's really a wonderful asset for both parent and child. We don't limit our leaders to women. We have a male leader right now, a co-leader. And there are opportunities for older girls, whether they've been scouts or not, to help with volunteer. Right now, as well as with other communities, during the pandemic, we have no in-person meeting. The only in-person activity that it's allowed in our group right now is outdoor events with a 6-foot spacing. But we're hopeful that we will get some more volunteers. We need more troops at the younger levels. And if we get more troops going and get everyone trained, we'll be all set to go in the fall. And that's what we're hopeful for, that, you know, everyone will be vaccinated that can, and we will move forward. And it's just a great week to do this. Girl Scouts is 109 years old this week.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Perfect timing. Didn't even know it. Thank you, Kathleen. We'll now hear from Darcy Ridlin of the Lewisboro Garden Club.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Darcy Ridlin. I'm one of the 2 co-presidents of the Lewisboro Garden Club. The Lewisboro Garden Club is almost 50 years old. Next year will be our 50th anniversary. We are what I like to consider Lewisboro's gardeners. One of our main missions is to beautify public spaces. And we began, I believe, with doing the triangles, the traffic triangles throughout our town. We take great pride in all of the gardens that we maintain. There are 18 traffic triangles in our town that we do all of the planning, planting, maintenance, and cleanup. We also do other gardens throughout our town, the library included, and many of the gardens that you'll see at Ontrue, one of our town buildings and properties where a lot of events take place. We also educate the public using the library, and they've been great with providing our Zoom meetings so that we can have speakers that talk to us about gardening related topics. For a mere $15, you can become a member of the Garden Club. We also offer discounts to our members at some of our local nurseries. We do programs, we do field trips to other gardens throughout the county, and provide an educational resource for gardening through our town library. We do have volunteer opportunities, even for teens. You don't have to join to volunteer with our club. We are 100% a volunteer organization, and we would welcome as many people would like to join or even just volunteer. And I know that the Golden Roads is a huge volunteer opportunity that George Scott is going to follow me on. That is part of the Garden Club. You don't have to join the Garden Club to volunteer for that event. And I'm sure many of you have driven around our town and have seen our Golden Roads. That is pretty much single-handedly developed by George Scott, who's going to follow me now. Also, we do maintain the community gardens at Ontrue, and you don't need to be a member to ask for a plot in our community gardens. But like I said, the more the merrier. Gardening is a COVID-friendly event. So we are on the ground working throughout this entire pandemic. And one day soon, just like everyone else in this in this Zoom are looking forward to being able to meet up in person. Gardeners are wonderful chefs as well. And when we do have our social events, the food is just unbelievable. So that's another reason to join. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thanks, Darcy. Nice segue into our next speaker, George Scott. George is doing double duty today. First, he'll be talking about the Garden Club's Golden Roads program, and then he'll be discussing the Lewisboro Open Space and Preserves Committee.
I'm George Scott. I'm with the Lewisboro Garden Club, and specifically, I'm the Golden Roads Daffodils Chair. For those of you who may not be familiar with Golden Roads, we have approximately 50,000 bulbs that we planted roadside in the last 15 years of our program. Every fall, we plant another few thousand. This year's planting will be November 6th. It's a Saturday. It'll be 8:30 in the morning until 12 noon. We have a rain date of November 13th. We plant in 2 90-minute shifts, and then we have a 1-hour site cleanup. So when we finish there, it doesn't look like we've been there at all. We've reseeded the lawns, etc. It's a fun community happening. It's over the years, it's developed, and we have Girl Scouts, we have Boy Scouts, of course, Garden Club members. We have a lot of John Jay High School students and residents that keep coming back year after year. We usually have a lot of refreshments, because as Darcy said, a lot of our Garden Club members are also into a lot of food. Last year with COVID-19, we had a lot of signups from this volunteer fair last year. Unfortunately, we couldn't invite the community. So it was a scaled down event just with Garden Club members. We hope this year to get back into things. We'll make a final decision in August, mid-August to late August, depending upon what the CDC, the state, and other medical authorities have to say. We will, anybody who signs up now, or all the people that have signed up in the past, in August, we'll let you know one way or another whether it's going to be on. This year, we're going to plant 3,000 daffodils. We like to say 3,000 daffodils, 3 hours, 50 volunteers. It takes 50 volunteers, which are made up of the community and the Lewisboro Garden Club. No experience is needed. One of the things that we do is right off the bat, after you sign in, we have a demonstration plot where we go over how we do it and so forth. And you'll be an expert on it. You'll be planting alongside experienced gardeners with Garden Club members helping you out. This year, we're going to be planting in the Goldens Bridge area. I'm not going to announce the location because I have to get approval from the town board. First, it's on town property, but it will be in Goldens Bridge, and we're happy to get back into that hamlet again. The Golden Roads and the town of Lewisboro has been discovered as far as our daffodils go. A few years ago, we were approached by a national publication to publish they want to do a feature article on us. Since that time, in the last few years, Golden Roads, and particularly the town of Lewisboro as well, they really play that up, has been in 3 national horticultural magazines as feature articles, like 6-8 pages long. We also were interviewed a couple of years ago by the Associated Press, and that went on national, excuse me, and our program was published in over 200 newspapers coast to coast. So sometimes I think people around the country know more about Golden Roads than the residents do. We would be really happy if you would join us. Our contact information is Lewisboro Garden Club at outlook.com, and that'll wind up getting to me. We also have a spring driving tour that we publish every year. It's on our website, lewisborogardenclub.org. And we also have an interactive map, or at least it will be interactive in the next month or so, fingers crossed, that you can drive around and see all of the locations as you're driving and so forth. And that's located at goldenroads.org. And that site can also be reached through a tab on our main Garden Club magazine, website rather. At the end, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. Thanks so much, guys.
George, did you want to talk about the open space and preserves?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm not confused with the other guy who was just here. This is George Scott. I'm with the Town of Lewisboro Open Space and Preserves Committee, and specifically the Town of Lewisboro Trail Volunteers. We're a very active group. Some of us meet weekly, like at Leon Levy, we meet weekly, others meet periodically as needed. And we're responsible for designing, building, and maintaining all of the trails that the town owns and town-owned preserves. And I'll go over each one now, as well as do we need volunteers on that trail system. Starting in Golden's Bridge, we have Brownell and Falcon Ridge Trails. Falcon Ridge Trails we completed last year, and that goes all the way from the Golden's Bridge Fire Department on 138 all the way up through Brownell Preserve. We are looking for more volunteers there. We have Fox Valley Park in Golden's Bridge. We also need volunteers there. We have Oldfield Preserve, which is off of Meade Street in Wacabuck. We're good with volunteers there. We also have the Lewisboro Town Park. It's a hidden secret. You can get into the preserve very easily from there without paying the entrance fee into Pound Ridge Reservation. We do need volunteers there. We have Leon Levy Preserve, which is our largest preserve, and we have 5.8 miles of hiking trails there. We're good on volunteers there. And we also have on a True Farm Park, there's 2 different hiking sections across the street from each other. We are looking for volunteers there. Last year, the Town of Lewisboro trail volunteers put in over 1,700 hours. A lot of this is maintenance. We've designed and built new trails. And every time we get a windstorm, of course, we get a lot of trees down. We probably had chainsaw crews removing over 50 trees last year, large trees blocking trails. We had over 36 that we had to remove in a windstorm last year. No experience is needed. We'll train everybody. And there's different opportunities, which I'll get into in a minute. But one thing I want to stress is the Town Open Space and Preserves Committee is a tremendous resource for the town. Collectively, on the Open Space and Reserves Committee, we have over 80 years of trail building and designing experience. There's not too many towns around that can say that, so I think we're very fortunate here. And we have 3 types of volunteer opportunities. The first one is what we call a trail monitor, and that's the easiest of all. If you're a hiker, and particularly if you like to hike in a preserve, let us know. What we're interested in that capacity, and you may be interested in, is just walk and monitor the trail. We'll have a short educational session and just tell us what's going on. Are there trees down? Is a trail blocked? Is there extra mud on the trail, and so forth? So that's very easy. It's just casual walking and reporting to the person who's in charge of the preserve. The second person is what we call trail stewards. And they go out and monitor the trails 4 to 6 times a year. They do minor cleanup, cleaning the trails of new brush, debris, small branches, and things like that. They assess damage to trails and the preserve and report back to who's ever in charge of that particular reserve. They let us know basically of anything going wrong. It's not chainsaw work. It's quite easy work. We usually do have loppers and sometimes a small handsaw with us. We'll clear water bars if the preserve has it, of leaves, excess soil and debris and things along that nature. We also report vandalism. Unfortunately, we do get some vandalism in our preserves. So that's reported to the person who's in charge of that preserve, the head preserve steward, and we in turn report it to the town. Any damage to trees, anything like that. Then we have the third level, which is trail crew. These volunteers are work on a team, and they're the chainsaw people. We go from preserve to preserve. We take care of large down trees. We build new trails. We build structures like bridges and things of that nature, and water improvements. We also have written trail practices and standards, which we'll share with everyone who volunteers. Again, we train you. It's not brain surgery, but if you're designing trails, it does require a little bit of experience. Contact can be made at Dana Makelum, who's a superintendent of Parks and Rec, and her email is dmakelum@lewisborogov.com. And I thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much, George. Keeping with our outdoor theme, our next speakers are from the Lewisboro Land Trust. We have Shantala Dugay Ivangar and Paul Colera.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. I still see George as a speaker in speaker view. But let me turn on my presentation. Lewisboro Land Trust is an all-volunteer run local nonprofit organization. And we're here today because the more volunteers we have, the more we can accomplish. There's a quote we like to use often. It's many hands make light work. If you're able to give us just a few hours a year or are interested in doing more with any of our initiatives, we want to hear from you. Just a few points about us. We've been helping to preserve land in Lewisboro for over 25 years. In the beginning, we helped to work with many organizations to create the preserves that George just listed. And now we work to link the community with those preserves through programs that provide recreation and education. And a few years ago, we started our Access Nature initiative, which I'll speak more about soon. You can learn so much more about us at our website or email us, and we'll be happy to discuss our work with you. Last year was one of our busiest years, believe it or not. We finalized the transition from the Nature Conservancy of 3 preserves that are collectively known as the Indian Brook Assemblage. They're over near Todd Road and Mount Holly area. And Paul will talk to you a little bit more about that at the end. We launched a YouTube channel during lockdown last spring to maintain our mission of providing nature education and connection. Our outdoor programs are in more demand than ever, and they're usually sold out. We've launched the LLT Budding Naturalist program. That's a new initiative to help families who attend our programs to find more ways to enjoy nature by providing resources on our website and stay connected with a new Facebook group dedicated to sharing information and arranging meetups at local preserves. Last November, we announced the gift of over 10 acres in Old Goldens Bridge. And then most recently, we announced that LLT will hold a permanent conservation easement of over 20 acres at the future site of the Lewisboro Commons in Goldens Bridge. We did all of this as a volunteer-run organization, and we can do so much more with help from more in our community. Here are ways that you can join us as a volunteer. I'll go a little over some of them, but I don't have a slide for the annual fundraising, and that's mostly just letter writing and mailing. But the outdoor programs are what keeps us the busiest. We host, at this point, about 3 to 5 programs a month. We have monthly preschool hikes. We've also have several annual events, and they're all just so much fun. Here are a few more. We just this year added monthly toddler hikes during the week in the mornings. We host regular guided hikes at the local preserves that provide a great introduction to the many options because we have so many here in Lewisboro. And then we often hire naturalists to provide educational hikes on a wide range of subjects. Access Nature is our initiative to create outdoor nature programs for the disabled and underserved. We educate about the benefits of nature and build confidence to spend more time outdoors, gifting participants with a lifetime tool to those who most need it. We work with several group homes for adults living with disabilities, as well as the Community Center of Northern Westchester. You can also volunteer at community events. These are always a lot of fun. We try to host an annual environmental lecture. This last year, we participated at the trunk or treat, and then we do other programs where we're invited to set up tables like the wellness night at Meadow Pond Elementary School. We also manage the Leon Levy Native Plant Garden at Leon Levy Preserve, and that takes a lot of work during the planting season that's starting now. And now I'd like to invite Paul to unmute, and he can tell you more about, now that we have our own preserves that we need to maintain, it's involved a whole new level of work. So Paul, if you want to take over and tell us more about what you do.
Okay, thanks, Chantal. As you said earlier, we acquired 3 brand new preserves from the Nature Conservancy, and they comprise the Indian Brook assemblage. And throughout the year, we have work days for volunteers to help us maintain the trails. So if you're interested in playing a part, even if it's in a small way, we would like to hear from you. Generally, we don't do anything that's too hard, and we find something for everyone. It's a great way to stay fit and get outside. We also provide the tools to help. So that's a nice plus. And in fact, we have an event that will be happening next Saturday, and that's the 20th, at the Mount Holly Preserve at 10 a.m. And if you're interested in joining us on the 20th, or just perhaps another day in the future, please reach out and let us know.
Great. Thanks so much. As you see, we have a lot of ways that you can volunteer. We promise you'll have a lot of fun. Please feel free to contact us or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You'll see more about what we do there. Visit our website, and we hope to see you on the trail soon. Thank you.
Okay, thanks both of you. Next up is Jim Riley from the Lewisboro Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
Thanks very much, Liz. I hope I'm coming through here. Am I?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, we are a all volunteer organization, just like the rest of the team here today. We've been around, this is our 44th year of volunteering, and we are basically made up of your friends and neighbors. We have a diversity of members. We have younger people, older people. We have men and women. We have high school age. We have people from all occupations, business people, teachers, nurses, entrepreneurs, lawyers. And so there is no particular skill you need other than a desire to have some hands-on help for the people in the community. We basically at the moment are launching a recruiting initiative, which makes sense for us. The timing is good. Sorry, I have an emergency call on my pager. I'm shutting it off.
Oh, geez.
Okay, that was all time. We basically operate 24/7, every day, every hour of the year. And we have a group of very highly trained people responding to the emergencies in town. Is a wide variety of issues, obviously both medical issues as well as traumatic issues. And we train everybody from the very first time you come on board. You're initially trained in the CPR, AED work, also first aid, and also you do a rig orientation. We take you through all the 2 ambulances and basically acquaint you with everything that's on board. So when you do go on a run, you'll be familiar with everything. The minimum requirements are 18 years old. We do have a high school contingent. They've been inactive as a result of COVID, but we do have about 8 people from area high schools. And they're a very integral part of our organization. And by the way, they have the same level of training as the rest of the first aiders. And when they go out on a call, they're not just sitting there, they are actually managing the call with the EMTs and medics and the drivers. Specifically, our requirements are we need EMTs and drivers. No experience is necessary. We will train you. You'll start out as a first aider, and a lot of our first aiders find themselves very attracted to the work. And what they do is then they move on and like to become a New York State certified EMT, an emergency medical technician. And we would be delighted to have that continue, and LVAC will pay for that, the course, and make time available so they get qualified. After a while on board, the EMTs, when they become more proficient, they will become crew chiefs. Basically, they will go out on the emergency call and they will manage the call. A driver and an EMT crew chief will go out along with if available, a first aider, either the junior member or an adult first aider. And the call basically is we get called on our pagers, it just went off. We would get a call on our pager, and we all have our two-way radios with us. And theoretically, if a call comes in on the pager, it'll say what's going on. It'll say motor vehicle accident in front of Cameron's on Route 35. And then it's our responsibility to tell the dispatch people down in Valhalla that I am responding to the ambulance corps as a driver, and the EMT will get on the radio and say, I am responding to the scene as an EMT, or depending on the nature of the call, the EMT might go right to the ambulance corps and respond with the driver. And so we would then go out and manage the call. Occasionally, and more often than not, on serious calls, we are joined by a paramedic from Westchester EMS. They are an integral part of the EMS support for Northern Westchester. And so all three of us, the driver, the EMT, and the medic, would manage the call. And we would stay in communications with emergency dispatch. We would inform them that we are responding to the call. We are on scene. We are en route to the hospital. And en route to the hospital, then the EMT will get on the radio to the hospital and inform them of the patient situation and whatever the patient assessment is going in. We operate two ambulances, very current, very modern ambulances with all the best possible equipment you can have on board. We also have two what we call chase cars or fly cars that are used by the captain and the assistant captain. If we need to get to the scene early, they would get there and start managing the call and communicate with the ambulance as we go in. You are operating on your own time. You can operate from home or your area of business if you're in town. You'll get the page and then you'll respond from there. Our junior corps, they would normally stay at the ambulance corps. We don't want them going around town in their cars driving to the scene. So they will do their duty shifts at the ambulance corps. The duty shift for riding members would be 12 hours a week. That could be 6 in the morning, 6 at night, or 6 at night to 6 in the morning. We have people who work during the day, and so they, as a rule, will be taking the night shifts. The junior organization, they would work in 3-hour shifts, and they would stay at the headquarters. Normally, they would be at the headquarters either doing projects for the ambulance corps or doing their homework, depending on what is going on. The time requirements are, other than the 12-hour shift a week, we have a monthly meeting the first Tuesday of every month. We then have a drill on the second and fourth Tuesdays. The drill normally would be lectures or PowerPoints or hands-on, how to operate equipment, and covering all the various medical protocols that are required by the New York State Department of Health, EMS division. We have a pretty wide area to cover in Lewisboro. We cover all of Lewisboro with the exception of Vista, which has their own ambulance corps associated with the Vista Fire Department. We have a stretch of highway, Route 35, coming from Richfield, Connecticut, all the way over to 684, which gives us our occasional motor vehicle accidents. We have a section of 684 around exit 6, which we are responsible for. We have a K-12, a very large school system, which brings us to the nurse's office and brings us to the athletic fields during the various sports seasons. So we do get some business over there. We have a hospital, Four Winds Hospital, which brings us up there occasionally. We have a fairly large geriatric population that we respond to. That's a special population having their own particular medical requirements, and we have courses that we teach on geriatric medicine to make sure we are well versed in what their particular requirements are. So it's perfect timing.
Okay, perfect timing. Thanks, Jim. Our next speaker is another double duty person. Pam Veith is here today to talk about both Lewisboro seniors and Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. Thank you for organizing this. It's actually been very interesting because usually we're sitting around in the room next to each other and you don't hear about everyone else. So, so I work for the town of Lewisboro Park and Recreation Department in senior programs. In normal times, there's a Meals on Wheels delivery to seniors in Lewisboro Monday through Friday. And usually those are delivered by volunteers, people who rotate. Let's say you want to do Mondays, they're usually 2 or 3, 4 people who deliver Mondays, same with the rest of the week. Because of COVID, I sort of took that over at the beginning in March, and now there's maybe myself and 6 other volunteers that are doing it now. But that is, as we hopefully get back to more normal times, that's an opportunity to just do maybe it's once a month or once every 3 weeks, 1 day a week, delivering meals. Right now we have about 15 people who are receiving meals, and you pick up your meal in Somers at the Van Tassel house where they put the meals together. You're delivering from Golden's Bridge all the way through South Salem and ending on East Street in Vista. So that's a wonderful opportunity to just do something once in a while. And that's, again, so the Meals on Wheels program. And then I run through Park and Recreation, I run the senior programs, and there are different opportunities to volunteer. I mean, during this COVID time, we've had people write letters to the Valentines, or just write letters to the seniors, and I've delivered them. And sometimes they've been writing back and forth. I've had people say, I'd like to, someone who's maybe vision impaired, I'd like to help them with their mail. So pre-COVID time, that was something that happened. And I have a wonderful story of 2 women that have become very close friends because this volunteer was helping this woman go through her mail once in a while. And we have a very close friendship. So this year we tried something new, and it was very useful. In February, we had the Snow Angel program. So we had about 12 volunteers and maybe 12 seniors, and they were just shoveling walkways or clearing off a car. And we had high school as mostly the younger volunteers, but a few older people that were wanting to help out a local senior. And I would try to match them up according to where they live with someone who might need help. And that was very useful in February. I'm open to suggestions, maybe a little spring cleanup if someone needs a little bit of help around their yard. So, and if anyone has any great ideas that they'd like to help out with a senior, it could be young or old, could be high school student or middle school age student. And so you would just email, my email is seniors@lewisborogov.com, or you can just call Park and Recreation and I'll get back to you. But I appreciate this opportunity to talk about the seniors, and it's a great Park and Rec has a great program. So thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Pam. And keeping in line with services for seniors, we'll now hear from Deb Castle, who represents Ride Connect.
Oh, I'm on, okay. So yes, thanks for having us, Liz. Hello, everybody. So yes, I'm representing Ride Connect, which is a volunteer ride and referral service. Our clients are all people who are 60 and older who are no longer driving. As you know, that can be very frustrating to be, or you can imagine that would be very frustrating to be that, in your home and not be able to get around. So our volunteers pre-COVID, and soon we'll be returning to this, will drive someone age 60 and over to a medical appointment, or to a friend's house, or to a religious service, or the hairdresser. Since we've gotten back to driving, for a while when COVID first started, we weren't doing rides at all. We were doing another program, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But we have returned to doing to driving our older adults age 60 and over, just to medical appointments, including vaccination appointments. So we're, slowly but surely getting back to our normal services. We have other services as well. We have a dialysis bus and a shopper's bus, which obviously you guys wouldn't be looking at as a volunteer, but it is something else that we offer. One thing we did do when the pandemic first started, and we thought, now all these seniors are at home, you really can't go to the doctor, you're not supposed to go anywhere, right? So we pivoted and started a shop and drop service. So we had volunteers that were, that either were our drivers before and they pivoted to this new shop and drop, or we actually recruited other volunteers that solely did the shop and drop. And what shop and drop means is that they would be connected with a senior who would give them their shopping list. They'd figure out how the payment was going to be, how the payment was going to be made. And we had a shopper. It was kind of like our own personal little Instacart. We would drop the groceries off. We also had volunteers that were that went to food pantries. So if folks were getting food regularly from a food pantry, we had volunteers that would go to the food pantry and get a list of people that were, waiting for that delivery and drop off the food for them from the pantry. I know that you're looking for an age where the minimum age is 21. The thing I always like to say about Ride Connect, and I think one of the things that's, aside from the fact that the folks that we drive around are so grateful. And I know that Pam does that a lot through her job here in Lewisboro, but Pam's one person, and so we can offer rides to other folks if Pam can't get to them, or people who are in surrounding communities. And they're so grateful to be able to get out and go to either their medical appointment or, the hairdresser or visiting a friend. But as far as being a volunteer, which I'm a volunteer myself, it's so nice to be able to do something that I know that people are so grateful for, but you don't have to commit to like once a week or, every Thursday at 2 or something, because then you worry like, oh, what if I'm not available at that time? And we just have a website that you go on and you can see all the rides that are the ride requests that we have for the next week and for the next couple of weeks. And you can go on there and see where it is from and where it is to, and say, oh, that works for me. I'm going to be going to such and such shopping center anyway. I can pick up Mrs. Jones and drop her off at the doctor. So it's very flexible. Some people volunteer a couple of times a week. Some people volunteer once every other month. And every ride that we offer someone is someone that we don't have to say no to when they're asking for a ride. So the more volunteers we have, the less people that we have to say no to when they're requesting a ride. I think that's the general gist of things. I see there's a question. What's the website to look up needs? It's rideconnectwestchester.org, and I think Liz listed that in her spreadsheet. You wouldn't be able to look at that until you're vetted as a volunteer. So, we have an application process, and you would talk to our mobility manager and submit an application. So once you've become a volunteer, then you have access to that website, and they would set you up and show you how to use it. So you could really just sign yourself up for a ride. I also wanted to mention in this time of COVID, even though, so we're only doing the medical rides right now, but we do, like so many places do, the 3 questions, we call every rider the night before and say, have you had COVID symptoms? Have you been around anyone who had COVID symptoms? The 3 basic questions that everyone gets asked wherever you go, because we don't ever want to, have our drivers feel like they're at some kind of a risk. They also need to ask themselves that question. Our riders always now that we're in this pandemic time, will sit in the back seat. Everyone's always wearing a mask. And we ask that any riders at this point now can get in and out of the car on their own. We used to have it where the driver, of course, would be happy to go around and help someone out of the car if they needed it, but we're trying to be as socially distanced as possible and still offer the ride. So, so that's another piece that's a little different right now because of COVID. But we are doing as much as we can to protect our riders and our drivers. And we're just so grateful for the drivers that have come back, now that we're kind of opening up services again.
That's great. Thank you so much, Deb. Our next speaker, Charlene Ramirez, works for WestFair Rides, and she's going to be talking about similar opportunities.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Charlene, and I am a program coordinator with WestFair Rides. WestFair Rides is a nonprofit organization. We cater to the needs of seniors over the age of 60, as well as the visually impaired over the age of 21. We help them get to their medical appointments all throughout Westchester County. And also now anything medically related. So we have been taking our members to get their COVID vaccines or COVID testing. And we have been driving since the whole COVID outbreak. But when that happened, we were only driving to critical appointments, such as, people who are ongoing treatments, really can't afford to miss any appointments. So we have been driving. A lot of our volunteers are coming back now, which is great. A lot of people are getting vaccinated. A lot of our members are getting vaccinated, and everyone just feels more comfortable coming back. So we do need more drivers. We have 900 plus members. Every day we get new members coming in. Word of mouth travels fast. We'll give a ride to someone in a building and they'll tell their neighbors about the service that we have. And then the next week we have 10 more people calling from that same apartment building. So it is great that we're able to help. In order to qualify to be a volunteer driver, you would have to be 21 or over. We prefer at least 2 years driving experience. You will have to own your own dependable car, and of course, a valid license and auto insurance. We require that you pass a criminal and motor vehicle background check before you are accepted as a volunteer. So it is a little bit of an onboarding process, but we just try to keep all of our members as safe as possible. We have a close relationship with our volunteers. It's like a big family. So we're very careful about who we do, let in to our group. Other than that, we are also very flexible. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So also just like, Ride Connect, you could do one ride a month, even one ride a year. It helps tremendously. The members are always super grateful. Sometimes they just have to go literally like 2 blocks down the street, and that you just taking out 15 minutes from your day just to do that. That's great. That's very rewarding. I work as a program coordinator, but sometimes I do pick up rides, and that's like one of my favorite things. Before I started working with WestFair, I didn't know that there was such a need for this. A lot of seniors are taken advantage of when they call a cab company, and so it's nice that there's different organizations that can help out with that. I have a question here.
Well, you know what? We're going to take questions at the end, just to do it all. But I'll remember that one's for you.
Okay, no problem. Let me just see if I missed anything. Well, we only take our members to medical appointments, but during COVID, something that we were doing to keep our volunteers engaged and keeping everyone close, we would do monthly Zoom meetings where we'll all just connect and keep the community close. Since we do like to do company events and reward our volunteers, but now it's a little difficult with social distancing. But so yeah, we're also doing food pantry deliveries every other Tuesday. So that was nice to have our volunteers kind of take on a different thing. They would leave the groceries at the door for the individual, and this was open to everyone. They weren't just delivering to the members. But now we are focusing again just on medically related appointments and taking anyone who needs to get vaccinated, getting them there. Yeah, and that's about it.
Okay, Charlene. We now welcome Bob Fishman from the Town of Lewisboro Sustainability Committee.
Thank you, Liz. It's a pleasure to be here, and hello, everybody. So the Sustainability Committee is an organization that is here in the town to address the reality of a changing climate and how it affects us at a very local level. And we provide guidance to the town board and to the community at large on this very vital issue. And we implement programs that make our town a more sustainable place to live and to work. Members of our community who would like to assist in these efforts in areas such as energy conservation in our homes, our offices, our public buildings, the promotion of renewable energy, transportation alternatives, green building technology, waste management, materials management, low carbon landscaping alternatives, local food initiatives, and related green jobs and social and diversity issues that are all part of that big picture of sustainability, are encouraged to reach out and participate. You can learn more about our committee's work on the town website, and just go to Sustainability Committee or lewisboro.gov.com/SC for Sustainability Committee. Our program, our organization has initiated a number of really exciting programs over the last few years. We've been operating since 2010, and we've done certain things such as the Energize Lewisboro program, which has helped a great many homeowners make their homes operate more energy efficiently, which of course reduces their carbon footprint and makes their homes more comfortable at the same time. That program has now transitioned into Sustainable Westchester's Energy Smart Homes program. And you can reach out to me and I'll get you more information on that. We've also run a Solar Rise program with here both in the town of Lewisboro and in partnership with our neighbors in Pound Ridge. And we were able to help more than 50 homeowners get solar installations on their own homes. We are now helping with outreach throughout the community, and we can certainly use some help with this to promote what's called a community solar program, where if you either can't afford or don't have the right kind of sunlight on your property, you can participate in a community solar program where you're buying in to getting all solar power for your home. And actually that's done at a sizable discount off your current rates, whatever they may be. We've operated a program called Heat Smart Lewisboro, where we helped homeowners get clean heat in their homes. Of course, here in Lewisboro, we our alternatives are pretty limited. We don't have natural gas, certainly. So people typically have either oil heat or propane heat, or sometimes electric baseboard. And those are either high impact environmentally or certainly expensive. And the Heat Smart program helped people learn about geothermal or ground source heat pumps and cold climate air source heat pumps, which are highly efficient equipment to heat and to cool your homes. And we are working with the town right now on some ideas for getting electric vehicle charging stations put in all around town. So, alternatives to gas-powered vehicles and transportation, those are essential to the sustainability equation. We are also working, we've also helped the town initiate a reusable bag initiative and helped get that local law passed so that people are now taking advantage of using their own reusable shopping bags when they go into the local supermarkets, rather than seeing the impact of plastic in our environment. We help with we help run the recycling center, and we certainly can use some assistance there. We are working with the town right now to initiate a compostables program and looking to build out a location in town where where community members can bring food scraps and have those composted. And we'll be looking for some assistance in staffing that as it gets going. There's an initiative to help promote zero emissions landscaping. And a shout out to Paul and Chantala for the slide on the trail clearing, where we saw, at least my eyes picked up, an all electric weed whacker. So that's one example. You should know that the town's own municipal operations does not use gas powered equipment, and we'd like to help other homeowners take advantage of that. And we have some initiatives up on our website which talk about sustainable landscaping alternatives. We've also run a program to get the town to convert all the streetlights over to low energy LED lighting. And so there are these kinds of things that we've been operating for quite a few years. And so I think you get the sense that we have quite a few initiatives, and we are always looking for assistance in outreach within the community to promote these initiatives and to educate our fellow Lewisboro residents on why these initiatives are important. One of the ways that we do the outreach and education is actually with the library. Once we're back up in person, we've been operating a sustainability film series where people can come and learn about one issue or another that's happening globally, and then act on that locally. Then for specific volunteer ideas, for teens, we are working very closely with the environmental clubs at the Katonah-Lewisboro School District, and we do education with them. I believe Austin Oman, who is in the in the John Jay High School, is running the environmental club there, and he is a liaison to our committee. So I would suggest that there are lots of areas where we can all do more to protect our environment globally and locally, and we have lots of need for people in our community to help promote the education on that. And so I would encourage you to reach out. I can be reached at robert@sustainablepromise.com. And you can reach me on my home phone. And if I'm not there, leave a message at 763-0230. And I'd be happy to engage with anybody in the community who would like to help us out in our efforts. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Bob. Last but not least, I'd like to talk about opportunities volunteering at the library and the annual library fair. Starting off, teens might consider joining our teen advisory group. It's a group that meets monthly to plan programs for middle and high schoolers. Currently, they are meeting virtually, but hopefully they'll be meeting in person again as we begin opening up. We are also currently planning to go ahead with our annual library fair in September. So we will be needing lots of both teen and adult volunteers to work on fair day, as well as to help collect donations of books and attic treasures at Onatru Farm in August. As we ease restrictions on people being allowed in the building, more opportunities for volunteering will open up. So please check back with us in the summer. Thank you all for joining us today. We will now take questions from the audience, whether you want to put them in chat or if you want to ask them in person. So if you want to ask a question, you can simply unmute. And I think that there were a few questions in the chat about the, both with Ride Connect and with WestFair Rides, about the clients, are they located in Lewisboro or all over Westchester? And both of them responded that they pick up all over Westchester.
Can I just say a couple of words about the Lions Club? I think we weren't on the agenda initially because we didn't have anyone available.
Go ahead, Tony.
So here I am. Can I share something on the screen? It's just a brochure that we've printed out, and I can make it available to whoever's interested.
Sure.
Okay, it says it's disabled, the screen sharing.
Oh, Tony, yeah, I'd have to let me make you a co-host so you can do that. Let me find you on here.
And it'll be quick, so I know it's already over an hour.
Okay, you are a co-host, so now you can
Okay.
share your screen.
Great. So let me go ahead and do this. So this is one of our, actually this brochure was made for last year's volunteer event that we held at the library just pre-pandemic. And so just a few words about our club. So we are a group of men and women dedicated to improving the lives of those who live and work in our community. Our club is one of 45,000 in more than 200 countries worldwide. We're part of the International Association of Lions Clubs. Our members are made up of people who are involved in wanting to provide community service. We have room for more adult members as well as youngsters that want to join our Leo's club. Some of the things that we do for the community, we founded and support the town's Veteran Advisory Committee, which was the newest committee formed in the fall of last year or late summer. We provide local parks and roadside beautification and cleanup. We support the library. We hold an annual senior citizens dinner. We have Lions that do work through this Adopt a Senior initiative for specific seniors in town. We support the Guiding Eyes for the Blind. We support LVAC. We've contributed to the tennis court, the platform tennis courts at the John Jay High School. We've built the three pavilions that you find at our 3 town parks. We contributed material and labor towards that. We provide scholarships to high school seniors. We promote volunteerism through the LEOS program. We've actually helped to rebuild homes after the Superstorm Sandy. And in fact, this picture are 3 of our members, Mike Keach, who's also a member of LVAC, myself, and Daryl Caprio, helping rebuild a home for this person on the left, who is a former Olympian, 2-time Olympian, 1954 and I think 1956 or 57 or something like that. So that was a very interesting project where we went down to the Rockaways in Queens, and over 2 weekends, we helped to rebuild a couple of homes there. We provide the opening day barbecue for Lewisboro Baseball, Relay for Life cancer fundraiser. We supported that event. And these are some pictures. This happens to be an award ceremony at one of our events. This was at the Senior Citizens Barbecue, where we had the Leos and Lions Clubs members cooking and serving the senior citizens. This is at Fox Valley Park, where we created, there was a landscaping project near the pavilion. And this happens to be one of our last major donation, which was in September 2019 to LVAC. $5,000 check was presented to LVAC. And of course, we help the library with the annual library fair. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, fingers crossed, in September. And we'll be there to help. And any questions, there's, I can make this trifold available to anyone who needs it. Maybe Liz, I can send it to you, and
sure,
and you can make it available through your channels as well. Contact email. This is Dave Phillips is our current president. I'm a former president, and I'm one of the officers of the club. But it's davidkphillips@gmail.com. Feel free to email him if you have any information, or you can also email me directly. My email is, I'll use my Gmail account. It's tonyjg63@gmail.com. And I could put that in the chat as well. So thank you very much for your time. And thanks for letting me squeeze this one in.
No problem. Thanks, Tony.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? You can put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, ask a question. If not, we will call it a day. And I thank all the groups who participated today. Did a great job. It was challenging. Usually we have the table set up in the library. We've had challenging years before. Twice we had the power out, but we actually got a big turnout at our fairs that year because we had a charging station. So we were packed. But this is the first time we've gone virtual, and I think it was a success. So I'm glad for the presenters, and I'm glad for all the people who logged in to watch. If you need a copy of the contact list, you can email the library and we will send it out. And again, we did record this session and we will be posting it on our YouTube channel this week. Thank you, everyone.